Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So in this video, we're going to discuss the solution for the first two problems of Codeforces around 832, which was rated for division 2. So the first problem is two groups. Now this particular problem says that we have been given n integers and we have to divide those n integers into two groups, S1 and S2, such that like each of those values should belong to exactly one group and the groups can be empty. So like if one of the groups is empty, then the other group should contain all the values, all the n integers, right? Now we have to find the value of sum absolute value of sum of one, sum of S1 and absolute value of sum of S2, and this means like sum of all the values in S1 and sum of all the values in S2. So right, we have to find their difference in such a way so that this difference is maximized, right? And we have to find the maximum possible difference. So basically, let me just show you an example. For example, if I have some value 8 here, let's say this is my first value and this is my second value, 8 minus 8 and minus 5. So this is my first value and this is my second value. So if I take this value in group S1 and take this value in group S2, so my final answer would be mod 8 minus mod minus 5, which is effectively 8 minus 5, right? And it is equal to 3. So this would be my answer. So obviously, if I want to, the first intuition that we have is if I want to maximize this particular difference, then I would want that the gap between these values should be max as possible, right? The gap between these values should be maximum. But if you observe that some values might be positive and some values might be negative, if I try to make this first particular element as maximum as possible, then I would definitely want to include all the positive values, right, in S1, and all the other negative values will go to S2, right? So all the positive values will go to S1 and all the negative values will go to S2. So in this way, I'll have two values such that S1 is as great as possible. And similarly, in this way, when I'm trying to maximize this S2 itself will become as less as possible, right? But when I take the mod value, it will be the positive of it. There we have to observe one very simple thing, right? If I have some values, for example, if S1 is here, right, and I have some values for let's say minus 3, minus 2, right? These are some values inside it. If I try to move this particular value to the first group, then what will happen is I will eventually decrease it from S1 and then take the mod and then take the mod of the remaining part. But there is no use of doing this operation because eventually what I'm doing is I'm calculating the final answer as S1 minus 3 minus 2. So even if I take this particular value to the group S1, I'm doing S1 minus 3, and if I don't take it, I'm still doing S1 minus 3, right? So effectively, to calculate the answer and to maximize this value, at the end what I'll be doing is I'll be just adding all the values, right? I'll be just adding all the values I from 1 to n in AFI, which is the given input. Effectively, I am just adding all the values to calculate my answer, right? But there might be a case when these values, when the value of S2 or the value of mod of S2 is actually greater than the value of mod of S1. In this case, what I can do is I can just reverse the order. So effectively what I can do is I can just sum all the values given in the input and I can just take the absolute of it. So this would be my final answer. So I started off by trying to maximize this value S1, right? And while I was trying to maximize the value of S1, I figured out that all the positive values can be present in S1 and all the negative values can be present in S2. But even if I try to take some values from S2 to S1 to the group S1, right, the effective answer would still remain the same. And that particular effective answer is sum of all the values in the given input array. Now, if this sum of all the values is negative, then I can obviously change it into positive by just reversing the order of the difference. If I'm doing S1 minus S2, I can definitely do S2 minus S1, right? Because there were two different groups. So if this value is negative, then I just take the absolute value of it. The absolute of sum of all the values in the given input array would be our final answer. Now let me just show you the code, how we can do it in the code. I have taken a vector n of size n and I have taken input of all the values. Then I've initialized my sum with 0 and I just sum all the values in the vector v. Now at the end I can just print absolute of v, which would be my final answer. Now moving on to the second question of today's contest, which is ban. So this particular question says that we have been we define a string Sn as ban concatenated n times. So if I'm writing s of 1, it means it is equal to ban, right? If I'm writing s of 2, that means it is equals to ban. So this would be concatenated 2 times. If I'm writing s of 3, then it is equals to ban. So this would be present 3 times. Now in one operation, what I can do is I can select two indices I and j such that I is not equal to j, and I can swap those indices, right? I have to swap the values in such a way such that the final string that I have should not contain the subsequence ban. So subsequence means b can be present here, a can be present somewhere here, and n can be present somewhere here, and there might be some letters between them. So this is a subsequence where the letter ban is present. So this should not be there, right, in our final resultant string. So I have to minimize the number of such steps when I am swapping two positions, and I have to make sure that the final string does not contain this particular subsequence ban, right? So what I can do is, if you observe, if I have a BA, then after it no n should be present, right? Either I can do this, or I can say if I have a B, then an should not be present after it. So these are three unique letters. What I can effectively do is I might try to move all the n's to the left and I try to move all the a's to the right? So I think this would be a very effective solution for this particular question. Let me show you an example. If I have ban, let me just write it down 4 times. So if I have this, what I can do is I try to move all the a's to the right and I try to move all the n's to the left. So if I take this particular a and this particular n, what I can do is I can just move n here and I can just move a here, right? Similarly, for this particular a and this particular n, what I can do is I can move the n here and I can move the a here. So effectively, what I am doing, I am ensuring that if I have a BA present, there is no n after it, so that it doesn't complete the subsequence. What is happening is I am just trying to move all the n's to the left of all the a's, right? Or we can also say it, I am trying to move all the a's to the right of all the n's, right? So this would also work on a string where the number of bans is odd, right? If I have this ban and bn 3 times, what I can do is I can choose this particular and just choose this particular n. So this would be equal to bnn and here it will be baa. Now for the middle of this middle string, I can just reverse these two. So it will be bna, right? So effectively what I am doing is I am trying to move all the a's to the right and all the n's to the left, and the total number of operations required to do this particular operation for a string in which ban is concatenated n times would be n by 2 and the ceil value of it. So you can also calculate this value as n plus 1 by 2, right? So n plus 1 by 2 would be the required number of steps, and we can obviously find some algorithm to just print all these pairs, right? So let me just show you the code directly. It will help you understand better. So if I have taken when I have taken the input n, I'm just printing n plus 1 by 2 as the result. So this would be the number of steps required. Now what I'm doing is I'm just initializing a loop from I is equals to 2 till less than 3n and incrementing 3 each time. So let's just explain what this means. First of all, you have to focus on this particular value, which is 3n minus I plus 2. So what I mean by this value 3n minus I plus 2. So I am focusing on this particular value, and I am ensuring if it is greater than I, then I'll just do something. Otherwise, I'll break. So what this means is, if I am at n is equals to 2, And for example, this is 4 times, so the value of n is 4 here. So I'm calculating 4 into 3, that is 12, minus 2 plus 2. So effectively it is the 12th position, and that is here, right? So I have to exchange these two values. I have to exchange I and 3n minus I plus 2. I have to exchange these two values, right? Now I just increment I by 3. Incrementing I by 3 means I am moving from this state to this state. So this state I'll be at 5, and 3n is 12 minus 5 plus 2. So effectively I am doing 12 minus 3, that is 9. So 9 would be this particular position, right? So the next time again I'll have to swap 5 and position 9. As soon as I move to this particular position, right, when I have I is equals to 8, then the value of 3n minus I plus 2 would be less than I, right? So at this particular point I need to just break out of the statement because I have printed all the values. So I do just else is equals to break, and so this would be the solution for the second question. So I hope you guys were able to understand the solution. So till the next video talks, keep coding, stay safe, bye bye.